America, my name is Osei-Frimpong. I come to you live every Thursday, usually a little bit earlier, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a late show, and we're going to talk about the $100 million gift that the Stryker family has given to Spelman University. Now, the Stryker family is a medical device family based out of, a medical device family based out of Michigan. And Rhonda Stryker, granddad started the company, and now they're billionaires, right? So she inherited her granddad's company, and now she's worth, it was always worth billions of dollars, but now, they're rich, super rich. And they gave $100 million to Spelman University, a historically black school in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's not obviously bad or necessarily bad, but you have to understand, why did she do this? Well, she's been a trustee of Spelman since '97, and everyone has a statement about why they became a trustee of Spelman, and so why I serve on the Spelman College Board of Trustees. And this is what Rhonda Stryker said. I have always known that when a woman receives a college degree, the entire family and future generations of that family benefit directly. Higher education for women, women of color, non-traditional women, students and women returning to education after raising families has held high importance in my gifts of time, talent, and treasure. That's fine as an ideology. But once again, everything in Stryker's life has been filtered through the fact that her granddad received the college degree and founded a medical device company. So there was something a little bit dubious about the idea that educating women is the way to uplift the family for generations. It's just not that simple. I'm a fan of educating women. I just don't think that that works for educating a people. You have to educate everybody if you want to educate a people, because families are raised with complementary talent and resources, right? So this idea that educating women is somehow more important with respect to the family than educating men, I think is hokum. And that's hokum that's actually expressed in Stryker's own life. And it's sold to black people. And, we get flattered into doing all sorts of awful things. It's sold to black women. But we need to actually do a deeper dive on all of the influences and the propaganda that goes in to making black men seem to be disposable. If the road to racial uplift is through educating black women, that's a con, because it's just not true. At the exclusion of black men. No, it's about educating black people. But if you just educate the women and you let the men continue to remain disposable, they will, one, not be a threat to white men with money, and two, not really actually, as a people, it won't work to actually raise a community. You can't have a community with only half the people being educated. Now, there are very good reasons to give $100 million to Spelman. Now, Stryker's given $100 million to a few other institutions too, but there are very good reasons to give $100 million to Spelman. You could say, look, I believe in education. I think gender segregated education is a good thing, and it's good for women especially, and I support this black school. You can just say that. You don't have to tie educating women to family uplift asymmetrically, because it's false, and I think it's a con. People say it's obvious that women are more important for families. No, it's actually not. I suspect children like their mothers more, but adults would have done better with a better father. So the benefit of having a father doesn't hit until later. Having a good father doesn't hit until later, whereas it's more immediate. The pleasure of maybe having a close mother. I suspect there are a lot of people who like their mother and would have benefited more as adults for having, a stable, good father in their life, even if they wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I suspect that. That's just a theory. That's my theory. But I think it's disingenuous for Rhonda Stryker to say that the money is because she believes in black families and it helped families much, when her own family is what it is. The only reason she knows it is because of her granddad. It's absurd. Not absurd, it's just disingenuous. It only tells half the story. And it pretends that, men don't contribute to families in the same way or in a relevant way, when actually if you want generational wealth, apparently, educate the heck out of black guys. Now, I'm not saying that Spelman should have denied the money. Spelman should have very much taken the money because it's money and it's an HBCU and needs money. The big problem is now with the Mackenzie Scotts, that's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, and the Rhonda Stryker articulating the quality of message they need in order to give. You're going to have HBCUs bending over backwards, not bending over backwards, but tacitly or loudly censoring anyone who might jeopardize a discretionary check, which is why the way these schools should be funded is through public measures and with publicly accessible processes, and they should be funded because I've said this before, but it's just simply true. Until black people are made whole, their vulnerability is going to be weaponized against any serious progress. And I said this before when the guy went to Howard and forgave all of their student loans, the black billionaire guy, Smith. He forgave a class's student loans. It's not going to come from the discretionary giving of the billionaires. What they do is protect themselves by currying favor. So now you're not going to say that. The problem is there are too many billionaires and not enough billion-dollar endowments for these schools. You're not going to say that. You're gonna say anything except that. And I'm one of these people who think that if black people are being made whole, the billionaire class of America, much of which is not black, there are like 5 black billionaires, is gonna have to take a haircut. And they're gonna be, land reclamation efforts, and a lot of people are gonna have their feelings hurt. So what people like Stryker are doing is buying insurance against that. And you can call someone like Kevin Hart a plant because an industry plant in Hollywood is someone that they pick who's going to do their bidding. The strikers and the billionaire class in general, they're buying up greenhouses, right? They create plants. Because now no HBCU is going to jeopardize and anyone who wants to work at HBCU knows that none of their scholarship has to jeopardize the funding mechanism, which goes through donors. Now, and you could say Spelman has alumni who donate, and they have a very high alumni donation rate, and high for HBCUs, yeah, but that's still not real money. That's if Spelman would pee on 300 alumni who are willing to donate if it came with $100 million from some white lady in Michigan. So to pretend that it's the Spelman alumni who actually run the school, who set the priorities for the school, is ridiculous. No, it's the people who can afford. The school needs money, right? And that vulnerability is weaponized to set the direction of the school against what I think is interest, the black community's interest. And when I say the black community's interest, I'm saying that this nonsense is actually propaganda that's simply not true. Educating women does not asymmetrically help black community uplift at this stage. What you do is you're spending your granddad's money and telling black women that they don't need a man. That's just not. That's not how we win, people. And a lot of Spelman people are going to be in my mentions about this, and I don't really care. I said the same thing about the guy giving money to the Howard grad. You take the money because you need the money, but understand that it comes with ties. We need something like campaign finance reform for colleges, but that means we also need public financing for these colleges. So, because it's going to be impossible not to shape administrative priorities and marketing to make sure that you don't scare away the random, very, very, very wealthy white lady. And, Spelman itself is named after, I think, Rockefeller's wife. So this has always been a problem. And W.B. Du Bois said something about this at Atlanta University. He got fired. Howard Zinn said something, maybe it's Spelman, and he got fired. There's one other, maybe Carter G. Wilson. Maybe not. Someone else, you can only talk like this for so long before you get fired from an HBCU, because ultimately they're bought and paid for by white money, because we don't have the money. Alumni does not have the money to keep it running well. It doesn't. Let's stop pretending that black people are something we aren't. We don't. So the people who set the priorities are going to be random families in Michigan. Random families in Michigan. So it's funny because now I can't say this because they're going to call me misogynist if I say this. And, when I said, I made the same argument against the Morehouse gift, but whatever identity you identify with or you're paid to identify with, I'm going to be seen as anti that when I talk about my justice claim. And it's just going to be filtered through that. Oh, I just hate black women. No, I hate billionaires controlling like what black uplift looks like, or telling you what black uplift looks like, when black uplift definitely looks like taking their money, and not taking their money because they're given from you, like taking it, like taking it. So we need to accept the check, but then understand that the strings that come with it are problematic, and that we're in a vulnerable and prone position, and that prone position is weaponized against community uplift. So the problem isn't really the money. It's not even the problem, the money, where it came from necessarily, but it's the message that it sends. The message that I'm doing this because if you really want to help black families, you educate black women, with the tacit conclusion that black men are less relevant for black family uplift. The education of black men is less relevant. Once I said, which is, untrue, especially when you look at Stryker herself, who is living off the inheritance of her granddad. Right? So educate black people if you want black community uplift. You can't just pretend that black women are a race unto themselves, which is what a lot of these white women want to do, even as they spend their daddy's money and put their names on their husband's businesses so that they can get that affirmative action. So, there's a plot to tell black women that they're a race unto themselves and the men are extraneous, when that's just not how black communities are going to thrive. If you appreciate what I'm saying, which I think you should, I'm going to lose a lot of people. There are going to be all these Spelman people in my mention saying I'm a misogynist and I just hate black women and isn't your wife white and all that. They're going to say all that stuff. But the thing is, I've been right about the arguments in this video. And if you support what I'm doing, you should go to www.funkyacademic.com, kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And now on Monday, I'm going to do a show on the books I get my kids. There's been some interest about that, and I think... I think a lot of people screw up with their raising their kids. So I'm going to tell you about the books I get my kids, what they read on their own, and then what I read with them and why and how that's working. And that's going to be Monday's show. Have a nice weekend. Please go to www.funkyacademic.com, kick in, and I will see you then. Peace.